Gen Z is a huge potential market for the GOP, so why are they not focusing more on getting their vote? They need to get especially the conservative Gen Zs, more of them mobilized.
Absolutely, David. Well, again, thanks for having me on. It's always great to be here. After the start of the new year, I said that I was going to sit down and discuss the problem with the Republican Party. Everybody had a lot to say, a lot of fingers to point, and a lot of blame to throw around after the midterms that weren't exactly successful as we hoped they would be. And, as you know, David, I've been on here before. I've written articles that you've read before. I call balls and strikes. I'll call the party out when we need to call the party out.
Yeah, you do. You're the John Roberts. Yeah, you're John Roberts. You call balls and strikes. Go ahead. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. So I saw this as the greatest problem facing the party right now. There's this drama between Trump and DeSantis. There's all this inter-party fighting and drama like that. That's not the problem we need to be looking at heading into 2024. First of all, let's just go ahead and address the fact that we're right smack dab in the middle of the 2024 primary season, whether we want to or not. Trump's running. DeSantis might be entering the race soon. We've got Nikki Haley looking at entering. We're smack dab in the middle of the primary season. So it's time to address where we fell short in the midterms in 2022. And I believe that is the lack of youth engagement for Gen Z, my generation. David, I'm sad to report this today, but I believe that the GOP is an endangered species. I believe that the Republican Party is at risk of extinction if we do not wake up and involve my generation. So I'm calling the alarm today. I'm hitting the alarm bell. I think it's time to wake up and involve my generation and give us a seat at the table.
And tell me more. That's fascinating. You're talking about a potential extinction of a political party because they're not addressing the next generation, your generation, right now. What does that look like? What do they need to do? What's the blueprint for success for the GOP specifically, Breland?
Yeah, absolutely. I make this reference in the article, and I'll say it today with you on air. When you look at an old church and with a more majority elderly population in that church, once that generation dies, typically the church dies with it because you don't involve, the young people. You don't have a strong youth program or strong children's program, whatever the church may be. Well, that's what's going to happen to the Republican Party if we don't involve my generation. Again, like I said, we're looking at possible extinction for the party. So it is time to wake up. This isn't one of those things of, we'll put it off. We'll address it the next election cycle. We'll look at it 10 years down the road and maybe see if we can give us a seat at the board then. No. It is time to involve my generation right now as we're gearing up for 2024, as we're getting ready for the convention and getting our platform together. Ronna McDaniel was just reelected chair last week. The first thing she needs to do once, taking her new term as RNC chair is involving my generation. I'm asking the same questions you are. Why is the Republican Party not involved my generation before? It's past time. It's quite frankly embarrassing that they've not involved our party. So I think it's time to wake up. I think it's time to get strong mobilization of the grounds. We've got great organizations like Turning Point USA on our side of the party. And I know Charlie Kirk's a mutual friend of both of ours. I really respect the work he's doing. He's doing awesome work. But the RNC should not solely be relying on Turning Point USA to do its work for them. It is their job to mobilize youth voters. So it's time for the RNC and the GOP as a whole to wake up and say, hey, look, we've got to be on social media. We've got to be speaking my generation's language and being where my generation is, whether that means putting out more Instagram content, whether that means putting out, tweets that, might catch the eye of my generation. My generation's looking for a cause. They want to have something trendy to put in their Instagram bios. They want to be talked to. And the Democrats that they're talking to, you've got AOC, they'll get Taylor Swift and Miley Cyrus and all these people. It's time to get those people on our side of the aisle. We've got John Rich and great other, conservative singers and conservative, people that we can put up there and use the surrogates to put information out. So I think it's past time for the Republican Party to wake up and start speaking the language that my generation's speaking.
Yeah, for sure. And, enough with the Republicans putting a flyer in someone's car. Hi, Here you go. It's 1987. Here you go. Vote for Reagan. And don't forget, oh gosh. Listen, don't get me wrong. Love Ronald Reagan. But the point is, stop with the flyers. You mentioned social media, which is a great point. And here's the thing. And I know TikTok and China, they're getting all my data. I got it. But the truth of the matter is that the RNC didn't even have a TikTok campaign or an account. They have nothing. And so this seems to be the problem. Do you believe that social media is the driver here for sure?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm basically started what I'm doing on social media. If your audience doesn't know my story, I started the Truth Gazette in 2017 at the age of 11. Really, I mean, it was an online news service at the time, but I just kind of started tweeting. And it grew from there. This is the 5-year anniversary. I'm 16 years old now. We've got a combined audience of over 400,000 across social media platforms. It's incredible how much you can grow just at the age of 11. So if I could grow this much in 5 years, picture how much the RNC could grow if they just, push out more Instagram content, whether that's TikTok or that's a whole other issue, but pushing stuff out like that. 100% thinks that social media is where the party should be. Now, let me give you this stat real quick. Joe Biden won the youth vote by almost 30% in 2020. And we saw one of the most record high voter turnout for the youth votes in 2022 with the midterms. So it's not necessarily voter turnout's the issue for Republicans or just in general, but it's the fact of who my generation is voting for when they get to the ballot box. So what we need to be doing is actually having hard conversations. It's time to have those hard conversations. And like I said in the quote you read at the top of the segment, we gotta go where those gray area conversations are. Normally, we'll leave it to them. We're just kind of, no. It's time to be there and say, hey, this is our hard stance on this. You join the party or you don't. This is where we stand on this issue. This is where we stand on this issue. We've got to have the topics about abortion rights. We've got to have the topics about marriage rights, that type of thing. Climate change, where my generation is actually interested in. It's time for the Republican Party to have that conversation.